Healing doesn't always mean going backward. Sometimes it means gently moving forward, but in a new direction. In astrology, the North Node shows us where alignment lives, not through force, but through growth that feels unfamiliar and right. We can't talk about wellness without talking about growth. Now, we briefly talked about that in the terms of Jupiter. But when we talk about the North Node, we're talking about our destiny. We're talking about where we're headed and everything that falls into place to make that happen. So, in this video, I'll be discussing the North Node and how it's truly your soul's path to alignment and wellness. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So, welcome to day 26 of our 31-day Wellness and Astrology series. So, first of all, happy holidays. If you're definitely watching this or listening to this, I should say, around the time that it's posted, we're in that very interesting gray area between Christmas and New Year's where we don't know what day it is. We don't know what's going on. We don't know whether we're coming or going. But we have this sort of hopeful anxiety, I should say, when it comes to a new year that's right around the corner. And that's why I find this wellness series so timely. And that's sort of why I timed it for this time of year, because as we enter a new fiscal year, oftentimes we're trying to figure out a new direction. We're trying to do things differently. We're trying to achieve the things that we didn't get to in previous years. And when it comes to all of those things, the most important component of them is alignment. And this is something that we often overlook and many times pay no attention to. Now, alignment, it's sort of like when things just fall into place. That's how it can present itself at times. Other times, it's this sense of purpose and this sense of clarity that's undeniable, right? When we set new goals, especially at this time of year when everyone's on some new year, new me type stuff, right? Oftentimes we set the goals that we think that we should set. We're trying to do things that everyone else is doing. We're falling into the consumerism trap, or we're sort of just following the crowd. And while there may not be anything wrong with that, because perhaps we do share a lot of similar goals with other people, it's really important that you take a look at what you need, where you are going, and sort of quiet the noise of everything else that's going on around you, right? Limit the distractions and stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, and take that energy and direct it inward into what you need to be the best version of yourself. And so that's essentially what today's video is kind of about, because we're talking about the North Node, which is often called the soul's path. The North Node represents growth beyond old patterns, evolution beyond comfort, alignment with purpose, and lessons that strengthen over time. I love to think of the North Node as the shoes that we are to fill, and they're perhaps a couple of sizes too big. So at present, they may not necessarily fit, but we're meant to grow into them. And that is something that's really important to remember and keep in mind when we're setting new goals. Sometimes we tend to look at goals in a very linear or sort of a flat kind of way. I want this thing, I have to do this thing to get it, right? I want to be a millionaire, so I need to get a better paying job, or I need to acquire new skills, or whatever. But oftentimes, it's not just the physical and tangible things that we need to consider when we're setting goals and when we're trying to achieve goals. We need to become the version of ourselves that can achieve and sustain those goals. So along with the tangible things that we're learning and doing, there's certain internal work that needs to be done in order to become the version of ourselves, again, to reach those goals and to sustain them. One of the things that this brings to mind, and that has been such a loud message over the last couple of weeks, is having a nervous system that can withstand a lot of money or even a lot of visibility. Oftentimes people talk about, especially in the realm of social media, they want to go viral. They want to be visible, especially as a business owner. You want that one reel, that one TikTok that brings in a slew of clients. But are you emotionally and spiritually prepared for what that entails? Can your container, can your vessel hold all of that? That's definitely a part of the work rather than thinking about a social media strategy or which camera to get, right? And then when we talk about the North Node, it goes beyond just goal setting. It's your overarching purpose. It's sort of why you're here. It's your soul's path. And understand that your soul's path isn't necessarily just geared toward one destination. The one thing that I've come to understand along the spiritual journey is that you don't have just one purpose. You don't have just one thing that you're here to do. At times, you have a certain purpose. At other times, you may have another. Or perhaps your North Node is just a symbol of sort of who you're meant to grow into as a person, rather than meeting some sort of definitive destination, if that makes any sense. So unlike planets, the North Node isn't about personality, it's about direction. And healing happens when we move toward what nourishes us, even if it feels unfamiliar. And the thing with the North Node is that the qualities of your North Node may likely feel unfamiliar, depending on where it's placed in your natal chart. It may feel like characteristics that you don't presently possess. Your North Node may be in a sign that you typically don't like or don't resonate with. But one thing I want you to keep in mind as an aside is that we all contain all signs. The natal chart is a wheel for a reason. You're not just a Virgo sun and you have nothing to do with Aquarius energy. The energy of all zodiac signs is contained within us. That's number one. So never forget that. But number two, again, your North Node is about growing into either the person you're meant to be and the direction that you're meant to take. And everything having to do with the North Node is about alignment. So why does all of this even matter? And why am I even discussing this and including this in this series? Well, it's because healing needs direction. Now, if you've watched any of the other videos in this series, you'll likely have heard me talk about how you can be engaged in an endless loop of healing. Always feeling like you need to process something, get over something, work through trauma. And healing is an ongoing endeavor. Don't get me wrong. Healing is not necessarily linear. But to be in an endless loop of healing sort of implies that you're continuously, quote unquote, broken, and you're not. You don't always need to fix something, right? And the beauty of the North Node is that it gives your healing context and direction, which is essential, which is half the battle, in my opinion. So after deep healing or emotional release, people often ask, okay, so now what? Right? It's like you have this clean slate and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? Without direction, healing can feel endless or disorienting, like it can really consume you. The North Node helps the body and nervous system stabilize by offering a sense of orientation. So it gives you direction, it gives you a focus. And so when you have a focus, you kind of know when healing begins and sort of when it ends, at least for a particular phase or period of time, right? So when you're aligned with your North Node, energy feels cleaner, decisions feel simpler, the body feels supported, and wellness becomes sustainable, okay? But all in all, what I want you to remember, at least from this portion of the video, is that alignment reduces friction. That clarity, that simplicity, It gives your healing a container. It takes something that can be endless and makes it finite, and it makes it more purposeful and impactful. So when thinking about healing, when thinking about working through your trauma, through karmic patterns and things of that nature, it's very helpful to look at it and examine it through the lens of your north node, because if the north node is sort of where you're headed, it's your destiny, it's the shoes that you're meant to fill, then healing with respect to that gives purpose and form to something that could be very nebulous and endless. So now let's get into north node by element. So of course we begin with the fire north nodes, which means that you have your north node in either Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And so for you, healing comes through confidence, courage, self-expression, and purposeful action. Most importantly for you, it's about fearlessness. So healing requires you to really kind of jump in head first, even if you're afraid, even if you are scared. And being action oriented, taking action, not just for the sake of taking action, but purposeful action, action that is in alignment, action that facilitates confidence, that facilitates courage, that allows you to express yourself. And most importantly, let go of passivity and self-doubt. Everything about fire north nodes is about being seen. It's sort of larger than life. It's visible. And when you have self-doubt, when you have passivity, you're limiting yourself and you're playing small. And so healing requires you to confidently take up space and take action that's in alignment with your self-expression. Next, we have the Earth North Node sign. So this means you have your North Node in either Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. So for you, healing comes through consistency, stability, embodiment, and practical self-care. Making order out of chaos is healing for you. Setting a schedule, setting a structure, having stability and reliability in your life is how you heal. And taking care of yourself in a practical way, having a regular routine that nourishes you, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel stable, and that makes you feel confident is very much a part of your wellness. And most importantly for you, let go of chaos and urgency. Yes, it may feel like we're in the midst of a very chaotic time. It's like the earth is on fire, right? Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. But what's most important for you and your well-being is to find stability within that chaos. Even if it's your own little corner of the world, as long as it's stable, it's clean, it's calm, it's peaceful, that is very much a part of your wellness signature. Next, we move on to the Earth North Node. So this means that you have your North Node in either Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. And so for you, healing comes through communication, perspective, mental clarity, and shared understanding. Being able to communicate and relate to people, being able to express yourself and your opinions, having clear thoughts, understanding things in a logical and rational way is very much a part of your wellness signature. And importantly for you is to let go of emotional isolation. Now, while you definitely live in your head and you're very expressive, you shouldn't be devoid of emotions completely, because emotional isolation can get you to overthink, over process, be way too much in your head and sort of drive yourself crazy. So try not to be too emotionally isolated, but make sure that you have enough room and space to communicate, to process mentally, and to express yourself verbally. And then finally, we arrive at the water north node. So this means that you have your north node in either Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And so for you, healing comes through emotional presence, intuition, vulnerability, and self-compassion. So you need the space to emote, you need the space to feel, and you need to feel something. If whatever's going on is devoid of emotions, you feel devoid, right? Being intuitive, being able to tap into your inner world is very much a part of your wellness signature. And most importantly for you, you need to let go of emotional avoidance. That, oh, you're too sensitive or don't take it so seriously. You need the space to feel and to feel fully. And without that, you just don't feel like yourself, right? So it's important that you allow yourself the space to feel. Now, keep in mind, all of these characteristics that I just described for each of these elements, you are meant to grow into. So let's say that you have a Scorpio North Node, yet you're someone who may have like a Libra stellium or even like a Sagittarius stellium or something like that. That emotional presence, the ability to feel and to intuit things may be foreign to you. It may be something that you don't feel like you're wired. You feel like you relate more to air sign energy since that's where most of the planets are in your natal chart, or fire sign energy, or whatever it is. The healing that comes through the North Node is something that may gradually happen over time. And perhaps you may be approaching healing in a way that hasn't included your North Node. Meaning, in the example that I just gave, maybe when it comes to healing, you're always trying to rationalize things. Your air sign dominance is like, okay, I need to think through this. I need to understand why this person did this and logically evaluate everything. When your North Node could really hold the key to healing in a way that's more profound for you. Maybe in overanalyzing everything logically, you've omitted the ability to feel these things, to feel the things that you need to release. And so your North Node could definitely hold the key to that. So it's a wonderful thing to look at generally. Now, keep in mind, you can look at your North Node beyond just healing. When it comes to any sort of movement and evolution in your life, I think that the North Node can speak to a variety of things. Number one, especially if your North Node is conjunct or in aspect to a personal planet, like a planet like Mercury, the Moon, Venus, Mars, right? But again, looking to your North Node when it comes to healing, it not only helps perhaps make a more profound impact when it comes to healing, it gives your healing direction and purpose. And that is truly invaluable. Now, let's briefly talk about when alignment feels uncomfortable. Now, remember the example I gave before. The North Node in your chart is like shoes that you're meant to fill, but they're perhaps a couple of sizes too big. Okay. So the North Node, it doesn't feel easy at first. And this is where people can kind of give up before things get really good, right? Because it can feel awkward. It can feel unfamiliar. It can feel slow. It can feel uncomfortable. And in that uncomfortability, you're probably just like, oh, this doesn't work, or this doesn't resonate, or this is not in alignment. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong because it feels awkward or uncomfortable. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels natural, right? Even when you're physically growing in your preteen and young adult years, oftentimes it's associated with growing pains. There could be physical pains. There's emotional pains as you start to learn how the world works and how relationships work, right? Discomfort here is stretch, not danger. So keep that in mind, especially if the qualities of your North Node feel so foreign to you, or they're of an element that you're not only not familiar with, but super uncomfortable with as well. So don't shy away from growing. Don't shy away from the uncomfortability. You kind of have to grow into it. And remember that it's a process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You got to work at it. You got to keep working at it. And eventually it'll become comfortable. And then you will start to experience more alignment. And that's definitely the name of the game. So now let's get into today's wellness tip, which is a North Node aligned healing practice. Now, this is great as something that you may want to implement somewhat regularly because, again, your North Node is where you're headed. It's the shoes that you're meant to fill. And the more you can really practice getting in alignment with your North Node, the better. So, step number 1, notice what feels nourishing but unfamiliar. Now, this would literally require you to take a look at the sign of your North Node and understand the characteristics of that sign. And notice what characteristics feel good to you, perhaps what feels unfamiliar. Sort of take a broad level view of those characteristics and see and assess what fits and what doesn't. Step number 2, choose one small aligned action. Remember, this is a process. You don't have to be on 100% right out the gate, right? Especially let's say if you've got a lot of earth energy, yet you find that your North Node is in a fire sign, right? This is going to require you to speak up, to be seen, to really have courage and be loud and take up space. Take one small action. Maybe put a really unexpected post on social media that really helps you express yourself. That may even be a little spicy, right? Take one small aligned action to begin. Step number 3, repeat gently but consistently. Again, these are the shoes that you are meant to fill. And so it really behooves you to say, okay, I'm going to intentionally embody the energy of my North Node one step at a time, one day at a time. Step number 4, let the nervous system adjust. And essentially this means that it's going to feel uncomfortable before it feels comfortable. So don't shy away from the uncomfortability, right? Embrace it in all of its glory. Sit in it for a second. And then eventually it won't feel uncomfortable anymore. And then finally, step number 5, trust the direction more than the pace. I'm going to repeat that again. Trust the direction more than the pace. Remember, this healing via the North Node gives your healing direction and it gives it purpose. And so when you understand the characteristics of your North Node, you'll understand the direction in which you are headed. You don't need to be on 100% right out the gate, but small baby steps will help you get there. And keep this in mind. The North Node heals through steady alignment, not urgency. Your foray into your North Node can take a lifetime. As a matter of fact, your North Node really becomes apparent to you around age 36. So for some of you haven't gotten there yet. Some of you, you're right around this age range, right? This is when you become more cognizant of your North Node. And I believe, in my experience, that you have more opportunities to embody it. And it's a process. So urgency, anxiety, trying to make the most of it all at once, it's not a part of that program. So take it slow, but take it steady. If there's anything that I want you to take away from this video, is that with everything that I've spoken about today, I want you to understand that you need to give yourself permission to evolve. And you may be like, well, what exactly does that mean? To change, to grow, to expand, to get into alignment with your destiny and your soul's path, you kind of need to give yourself permission to do that, okay? You don't need to fully understand your purpose to move toward alignment. It's sort of like that saying, that famous saying by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? You don't have to see the whole staircase to take that first step. And when we're talking about the North Node, you're probably not going to see the entire purpose. You're not going to see the end result. You're not going to see the destination. If you've ever driven in dense fog, you can literally only focus on what's right in front of you because that's all you can see. But you know that your destination exists because clearly you're driving toward it. You just can't see it yet. And that's exactly how the North Node operates. Okay? You only need to notice what supports your well-being right now. And when we talk about healing and the North Node, it allows you to be present because you know the direction, but you can only really focus on what's good for you in the moment. Healing isn't just release, it's learning how to live differently afterward. It's learning to evolve, it's growing into who you're meant to be, what you're meant to be doing, and getting in alignment with your soul's path. The North Node reminds us that wellness is a direction, not a destination. The destination is already set. You just have to align yourself with that direction. And then everything else will pretty much fall into place. All right, my loves, that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on the North Node and aligning with your soul's path. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use to move forward successfully and to experience wellness in the present. If you're interested in a natal chart reading, sign up for my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint. All that information is in the description box below. If you haven't taken my self-care signature quiz yet, what are you waiting for? It's a cute, fun little quiz that can help you understand yourself and your self-care signature much better. All right, and the link to that is in the description box below as well. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.